In the upland forest of Chiang Dao, northern Thailand, live the villagers of Ban Mai Kong Sai, an old Karen village settlement which has existed since over 200 years ago. Generations over generations, the Karen locals have relied on farming for subsistence. They plant rice in both the paddy and swidden fields and grow many varieties of vegetables and crops. To them, the forest is their home, an indispensable part to their livelihood. The Karen villagers, including those from Ban Mai Kong Sai, are viewed by the state as invaders of the forest and destroyers of the land. In particular, the government has accused the rotational farming practices of Karen villagers as a destructive form of slash-and-burn agriculture that uses a lot of new land and contributes significantly to deforestation. The government coined this practice with a negative term, ไรหลวนน้อย, and has sought to control and limit the land the villagers own.
คือยังไงมันเราคือถ้าพูดสิทธิของปากยอนี่มันจะน้อยลงใช่ไหมที่ทางรัฐเขามาอย่างห้ามอย่างเงี้ยเราคือมันจะไม่คือว่าไม่เหมือนแต่ก่อนอย่างเงี้ยไม่อิสระเหมือนแต่ก่อนอย่างเงี้ยแต่ก่อนเราไปทำอะไรก็เราทำได้อย่างเงี้ย
ทำอะไรบ้างที่ว่า
ทำไร่คือว่าทำไร่ทำที่ไหนก็ได้อย่างเงี้ยถ้าพูดถึงไร่หมุนเวียนนะ
But farming and the freedom to use the land for subsistence agriculture is rooted in the culture of the local Karens. For the people of Ban Mai Kong Sai, farming is their way of life for food and for earning their keep within the village, and it has been challenging dealing with the state over land use and destructive farming practices.
ทำอยู่ไปทำไปไม่ทำไม่ได้กินเนาะก็ทำไปไม่ฟังเสีย
ไม่ฟัง
ดื้อเลย
แล้วเขาจัดการอะไรยังไง
เขาก็มันก็ฟังบอกว่าเราอยู่ในป่าเราก็จะไปป่าอยู่เราก็รักษาป่า
แล้วเขาจะมาจับเราไหมไม่จับแต่เขาว่าเฉย
ๆไม่จับแต่เขาไม่ให้ขออะไรชูชนขอชู
ถ้าไม่มีไร่ก็ผมไม่เป็นปักยอยอะไรนี้ถือเกี่ยวกับวิถีชีวิตมันไร่ที่มีเยอะกว่าว่าอย่างเงี้ยไปหาที่ขาไร่นะครับถ้าวันเต็มอย่างนี้พอเราไปตอกไม้แล้วเราขอที่อย่างเงี้ยขอผีโดยผีห้วยผีอะไรเนี่ยเราขอแล้วก็
Over generations, the villagers of Ban Mai Kong Sai have participated in rotational farming, growing and rotating different types of crops on plots of land which would be burned down for new cycles of growth on a regular basis. To them, the act of seeking permission from the spirits for the use of only certain types of land represent how rotational farming is deeply ingrained in the tradition, rituals, and beliefs of local Karens. The villagers have widely regarded themselves as children of the forest. They know what is best for the forest and have also undertaken mitigating measures such as fire breaks to protect the forest which they live in. For the longest of times, the villagers have held their local knowledge and their embeddedness within the forest in high regard, using them as a strict defense against how the state has perceived them. Today, the overall traditional farming landscape in Ban Mai Kong Sai has started to evolve, with gradual shifts in various aspects of farming in the village, as the villagers begin to reshape their farming practices alongside the continued discourse and other extrinsic demands. Rotational farming around the mountainous landscape of the village has greatly dropped in frequency, with only a few families engaging in swidden agriculture, as restrictions discouraging deforestation practices have forced villagers to move away from rotational plots of land. At the same time, many villagers have shifted towards more extensive fixed farming at rice paddy fields around the surrounding terrain, motivated by higher rice crop yields that can be harvested from paddy fields.
ก็ไร่หมุนเวียนถ้าพูดถึงเมื่อก่อนนี่เขาเวียนอยู่ประมาณ 7-8 ปีนะครับถ้าเป็นเมื่อก่อนนะ แต่ปัจจุบันนี่ประมาณอย่างนานที่สุดก็4 ปีครับถ้าพูดถึงข้าวในนานี่เราปลูกนี่มันจะได้ผลผลิตมากกว่าในไร่หน่อยนึง
Also, restrictions on land use has not only reduced the ability to use land freely for rotational farming, but also shortened rotational farming cycles, which have led to lower land productivity and a lower diversity of crops as compared to the past. Despite their faith in their own stance that their long-held rights to farming have been taken away, villagers in Ban Mai Kong Sai are also keenly aware of how limited their choices are in farming practices due to government regulations and the threat of persecution. Many villagers have inevitably chose to start adapting to the new way of life under the constraints of government regulation.
อันดับหนึ่งก็กลัวจะถูกจับอย่างนี้ใช่ไหมครับก็กฎหมายกลัวกฎหมายอย่างนี้คือว่า ปัจจุบันนี่ที่อยู่นี่ก็คือจริงๆแล้วเขาไม่ให้อยู่อย่างนี้ใช่ไหมครับ
The recent move to growing rice in paddy fields has demonstrated the villagers' heightened awareness over institutional constraints, but more importantly, their ability to change their farming practices with changing demands and landscapes. We found that many of the villagers are tapping onto alternative farming sources on fixed plots of land and moving away from rotational farming due to greater awareness of farming effectively and efficiently. Watering paddy fields has now become feasible, as the narrowing of the river channels have allowed easier access to such water sources that are essential for rice plots.
เมื่อก่อนนี่มันแต่พ่อปู่ตายายมันเบิกเคยรู้จะทำนาลูกเขาทำไร่เนาะจะว่าอันเผาอะไรจะเตะเผาโย่งเผาดิซอหมูบนดอยเนี่ยเขาทำเดี๋ยวนี้อะแค่ว่าหมูอย่าง
มันปัญหาตรง
นาบาหนูคนเนี่ยก็ตั้งแต่เขาตั้งโรงเรียนเมื่อก่อนนี้เขายังไม่ได้เรียนหนูแล้วเขาตั้งโรงเรียนเด็กๆใหญ่มากก็เขาไปเลี้ยงเขามันตั้งโรงเรียนเขาได้เลี้ยงได้รู้แล้วก็พอดีพัฒนาก็ทำนา
People in Ban Mai Kong Sai have evolved to actively employ new knowledge on farming practices which they have gained through education in general, and have since integrated such knowledge to explore fixed farming through rice paddy fields as alternative options. In integrating local knowledge and external influences, we can also see that the changes in attitudes and habits of the villagers of Ban Mai Kong Sai have displayed heterogeneity. In the face of various pressures of the outside world in changing their way of farming, different families have adjusted to differing degrees, revealing the differing priorities they have. While some began to resort to chemicals to fertilize the land given the reduced cycle of rotational farming, others insist on the traditional way, believing that what nature has given them is enough.
มันก็เหมือนกันแต่ว่ามีบางเจ้าอย่างเงี้ยจะได้สมมติว่าถ้าใส่ปุ๋ยก็มันก็จะได้เข้าเยอะหน่อยอย่างเงี้ยมันก็มีส่วนที่จะใส่ก็มี
As the forests continue to dwindle and criticisms from external stakeholders put pressure on the local Karens over land use and preservation of the uplands, the Karens at Bang Mai Kong Sai continue their struggle in managing their need to accommodate these outside pressures and their desire to preserve their traditional way of life and means of subsistence. But as we observe their responses and farming practices, the Karens have gradually moved away from defending their own local practices to slowly integrating their farming practices with influences from outside and from within. With a heightened awareness of the discourse, the villagers of Ban Mai Kong Sai have a knowledge to better handle the continued discourse about their land, and in doing so, display their ability to better understand the situation across time.